Joining me, Jack Burkman, Republican strategist and host of Behind the Curtain with Jack Burkman. Catch him every Saturday night on the Radio America Network and Sunday afternoons at 2 on WMAL in Metro D.C. Also, Richard Fowler, Democratic strategist and host of the nationally syndicated Richard Fowler Show. Download his podcast at fowlershow.com. This week, a dramatic change of course for the Obama administration.
I've decided to maintain our current posture of 9,800 troops in Afghanistan through most of next year, 2016.
The White House had planned to bring all U.S. troops home from Afghanistan by the end of 2016. Obama even campaigned on that promise. Richard, what do you make of his change in plans? Does this hurt his legacy?
Not at all. I think what we saw from the president was actually really definite leadership on this matter. Situations and times changes, right? I mean, you could predict one thing on the ground, but we don't want a return of al-Qaeda. We don't want a return of the Taliban. And we've really got to do something to make sure we can slowly destroy and dismantle ISIS. That means this decision that the president's making is the right decision, that is the right decision, and it's right for the moment.
Jack, before you start, Republican presidential hopefuls are weighing in on the reversal, including Senator Lindsey Graham.
I'm telling you, he's picked a number that's not militarily sound. He intentionally ignored all military advice to keep a residual force in Iraq. We've paid a price, and this 5,500 number is not a militarily sound number.
Jeb Bush also said the decision shortchanged the U.S. military. All right, Jack, the GOP has been urging Obama to keep troops in country. Now that he's doing it, they're still not happy. What gives?
Well, the whole policy is flawed. I mean, if you want to do what the president wants to do, if you have those goals, you probably need 3 times as many troops. The broader problem was, and I'm just laughing. I'm laughing at Richard. He sounded like Lyndon Johnson justifying things around the Tet Offensive in 1968.
Oh,
but
come on, Jack.
Obama has, I don't know how the left continues to support Obama, because his goal now is to functionally recreate the British Empire in the Mideast. Here's the problem with Afghanistan. His policy there has been a joke from the beginning. You can't make a nation state there. You can't pull these people together. There's nothing, you can do it in Iraq. It's hard, but you can do it. You can't do it in Afghanistan. These peoples can't coalesce around an Afghan nationalism. There's no such thing as an Afghan nationalism. So Obama's whole mission, his whole purpose there is idiotic. If you want to do what he wants to do, tactically he's off base. It's a strategic mistake. It's a tactical mistake. It's wrong in every way.
Here's the thing, Morris. For 14 years, we've engaged in what I would call the Afghanistan quagmire created by George W. Bush when he decided to take out the Taliban and not replace it with a government that truly worked. If you remember correctly, it wasn't too long ago for members of Congress were celebrating the fact that Afghanistan had its first democratic election.
Wait a minute, Richard,
but now that democracy is toppled, and it's not the president's fault. What the president is trying to do here, Jack, is to do everything in his power to make sure we stop the Taliban from returning.
Okay, Jack, I don't think the left is happy with Obama. I mean, look at Hillary Clinton in the debate. She's distancing herself, too, by reversing some of her decisions she made with Obama. I don't think the left is any happier.
Is furious. They're furious with Obama.
Now, first we were happy, now we're furious. What is it, Jack?
The problem with the Afghan strategy is that Obama defines the whole country as Taliban. Whenever he wants to change his policy in Afghanistan, he cites the Taliban. Troops go in, troops go out. It's Mickey Mouse.
That's not true at all.
It's a complete circus.
The intelligence on the ground tells us that the Taliban is reemerging. That's not a Democratic or Republican ideal. That's just American intelligence.
I think, regardless of our politics, we can all agree that it's a quagmire. We don't know how long it's going to stay that way. I mean, they have a fighting season like we have hunting season over here. What country has a fighting season except for Afghanistan?
That's a good point.
All right, the decision on troop levels in Afghanistan will fall to the next president, whoever he or she is. And for the first time, the Democrats faced off in their own debate. Observers thought Hillary Clinton was the shining star. Richard, do you agree? And does this mean that it's too late for Joe Biden to jump in?
Well, I think Hillary did very well. I wrote this in a piece that I wrote for Ebony.com. Hillary did a phenomenal job, right? She outlined a clear message for the American people on how we level the playing field, on how we get our economy back on track, and how we deal with foreign policy. But here's the distinction. I think this is the best part of what we saw in this week's debate. It was complete and total opposite to the circus, the Barnum and Bailey circus that is the Republican debate, which was people tearing each other down, breaking each other apart. This was an infomercial for what Democrats can do for this country, and that's a great thing, Morris.
Jack, make some news. Do you think it's too late for Jumpin' Joe to jump in?
No, along the lines of even a blind squirrel finds an acorn on occasion. I predicted 2 years ago. I stand by my prediction. Getting some confusing news today. We're hearing CNN's kind of reporting that he's in. My sources inside the Biden campaign tell me that he's not running and he thinks it's much too late. I think he's in. There's nothing to lose. It's his last chance. He could never do it again. This is it. Why would he get out of politics? There's only one relevant question about the debate. Yes, I agree. Hillary Clinton won a smashing victory. Of course, she had no opposition. Her only opposition is Bernie Sanders and Martin O'Malley, who looked like he was asleep. So, of course, she would win. God help her if she doesn't win. But the only question is, does the debate make it more or less likely that Biden would enter? And I'm not sure I know the answer to that.
I don't think he will jump in now. If he was going to jump in, he should have done it before Hillary became such a star for the debate. Depending on who you talk to, though. Republican frontrunner Donald Trump was live tweeting during the debate, at one point saying there were no stars on the stage. He later said Hillary Clinton won because she was up against the B team and that she won't be so lucky against him. All right, Jack, back to you. Do you think Trump could trump Hillary in a debate?
Oh, very much so. I think Trump is so charismatic. I think he could crush Hillary in a debate. I think she would come across
as if he had substance.
That's the whole point. I mean, he said, "Yeah, we're going to be great. It's going to be great." I mean,
he has no substance.
You're right, Richard. But remember, you can train a person to know the facts and figures.
All right,
hold on. Let me say, you can train a person to know the facts and figures, but you can't train a person to have charisma and be endearing.
Agreed.
Hillary Clinton doesn't have that.
Agreed. I agree with you that Donald Trump is a very charismatic guy, and he's a reality TV star, and that's great. Here's Donald Trump's problem. He lacks real substance. If you ask him about a policy, he'll be like, oh, it's incredible, it's great, it's going to be huge. But it doesn't really talk about what the policy actually is. His policy on immigration, America, listen to this. I'm going to deport all 11 million people living in the shadows and build a wall so high that you won't be able to see over it. That is not a policy.
Details.
You need to remember a couple of things, Richard. This isn't Germany or France. This is a country called the United States.
I get that.
We tend to elect an awful lot of charismatic people who don't know a lot about detail. Take a look at the 44 people who've served as president of the United States.
Yeah, but at least they have some moderate experience in governing, a little bit. Trump has none of that.
What you'll find, what we're seeing now is that Trump is the only Republican. I'm not endorsing him, but I'm getting awful close. Trump is the only Republican who can bring certain states into play. He can bring Iowa into play. He can bring Pennsylvania. He can bring Michigan. He can bring New Hampshire.
I don't know about that.
In the general election, these states are out of play for any other Republican.
Well, let's get back to the Democrats. One of the biggest lines of the night came from Senator Bernie Sanders. Listen.
Let me say something that may not be great politics, but I think the Secretary is right. And that is that the American people are sick and tired of hearing about your damn emails.
Thank you. Me too.
You know?
Not bad. Sanders went on to talk about income inequality and Citizens United, drawing huge applause and handshake from Clinton herself. Richard, what did you make of that moment?
I thought that was the moment of the debate for Bernie Sanders, and I think it was the moment of the debate for the Democratic Party. It was a clear indication that it's time to move on from these emails and really have a substantive conversation about how we truly close the income inequality gap that exists in this country. I thought Bernie was phenomenal. He did a great job, and I really think he outlined what his platform for America will be if he's the nominee.
Hillary's emails have been part of a bigger investigation of the 2011 Benghazi attacks, but now that could be unraveling. Another Republican, Representative Richard Hanna, said the Republican-led committee was targeting Clinton. This after House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy linked the investigation to Hillary's poll numbers, and the next staffer confirmed the scheme. Jack, is the jig up? Will Hanna's comments further damage the GOP's reputation?
Well, I like candor. I like honesty. There's politics in everything, Morris. I mean, that's kind of like saying, was Obama concerned about the politics of health care? Of course he was. Does that mean he also didn't believe in the substance of health care?
Yeah, but this Benghazi probe's been going on for so long, and we're all paying for it.
Well, look, in
millions of dollars.
In Washington,
millions.
In Washington, everything has a political motive. Nothing on either party, on either side, ever will occur in this town without a political motive. These days, even the Supreme Court is political. The bottom line is there's good reason to look into Benghazi. The bottom line on it is this.
Please explain to me what that reason is.
Here it is. I'll give it to you in a nutshell. The President and the Secretary of State let people die. They hesitated because they were afraid to take on radical Islam in the heart of the Mideast. That's the reason.
The Secretary and the President of the United States wanted to kill
No, they didn't want to kill.
a
They let
select
people
American
die.
ambassador.
There's a difference. There's a difference. They didn't want to kill.
Okay, so they let people die.
They hesitated, yes.
They hesitated. What would you have done if you were
Move
them?
fast. Obama had all kinds of
They
intel.
were
He
at,
could've moved
now, I
fast.
mean, I don't, here's the thing. I don't want, there's no need to rehash this story because we've heard it from members of Congress for the past 2.5 years. But the truth of the matter here is that they were at a strategic outpost in the country. Right? Benghazi is a strategic outpost. It's not the main embassy. And because it's not the main embassy, it does not have
It's
Marine
not
guards.
an isolated incident, Morris.
Well,
Richard,
putting this
but-
in context, remember, this was before the election. They're supposed to love us. We thought we'd won the war on terror, at least appeased the Muslims. Didn't happen. It was an embarrassment. Let's move on. The next Republican debate is later this month. The hosting network, CNBC, has just caved to demands from Donald Trump and Ben Carson to make the debate 2 hours. Both candidates threatened to pull out if they were any longer. Richard, what do you make of the change? Should candidates dictate how long a debate should be?
Well, I think this change sort of speaks largely to the problem that the RNC has, right? And Jack knows as well as I do that a lot of the time the party is the one that negotiates the terms of the debate. And the fact that Rance Priebus and his boys at the RNC can't get this together to the point where they're pleasing all the candidates in the field sort of speaks to the weakness of the party going into a 2016 election. This week, Rance Priebus also made the comment that if we don't win, we're cooked if we don't win the White House. And the Republicans, at the rate they're going, they are not going to win the White House. This is a circus act at best.
You're talking about a lot of things at once. First of all, I think
No, I'm not. I'm talking about the same thing.
The debates are too long. I think 3 hours.
Yeah, but that's the job of the party to negotiate, is it not?
I've been in politics for 35 years, and I get bored in a 3-hour debate.
It's a circus.
I think they're quite right to ask for 2 hours. I think it's a very sensible request. Sure, it favors Trump. I mean, sure, it favors Trump and Carson because they don't know as much about the details as policy as the other candidates.
They have no substance.
There's no question about that. But at the same time, I think 3 hours is much too long.
I agree. I mean, look at Gilligan's Island. They set off on a 3-hour tour, and we know where that ended up. All right, before you go, let's talk about this exchange between Trump and one of his critics.
So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can prove me wrong, but I don't think that you're a friend to women.
I knew I shouldn't have picked her. I knew I shouldn't have picked her.
So if you become president, will a woman make the same as a man? And do I get to choose what I do with my body?
Trump supporters didn't like the criticism, and after some digging, discovered she's an intern for Jeb Bush's campaign. Uh-oh. Jack, do you think Bush sent a plant to disrupt Trump's speech?
No, I think plants are, I give him credit if he did. I think plants are, I've used them, a lot of strategists have used them. I think they are a facet of modern life, Morris. They're everywhere.
Richard, you got a problem with that?
I don't have a problem with it. I wish that Donald Trump would answer the question, and I think that's part of the bigger problem here is that the Republican Party, when it comes to women, their record's dismal.
Send somebody in a Gumby uniform or something really weird. You know, a land shark
A chicken.
next time. A
West
chicken.
Wing.
All right.
A chicken.
Richard Fowler, Democratic strategist. Jack Berkman, Republican strategist. The best political panel on TV. Thanks to you both.
Thank you, Morris. Thanks, Richard.
Thank you, guys.